So you start over there, and then you do what we call import substitution. You find those things that you're having to get out of the global system, and then you stop importing, and you start producing it or processing it locally. And here's where you do engage Walmart. You tell Walmart, today Walmart tells you, I'll source 15%. They'll give you all that production. And you thank them very much. That's the most subsidized part of the entire food value chain. It's the one you go broke the most on. It involves the hardest work and the greatest risk. And Walmart's willing to underwrite that a little bit. Well, that's really wonderful. They also tell you that at the same time, we do not want you to do anything to disrupt the fact that we have 90% of our shelves filled with processed and prepared foods, and that's where we really make our money, and we don't want you doing that. And I say, well, now, wait a minute. This guy gets smart in our communities here. No, we're going to take the food preparation over. That's going to be our deal. We're going to do that. And we're going to back into doing the processing. And guess where we're going to source all of that fresh produce that we need to be able to go into the processing and preparation? Walmart. Okay, Walmart, you bring that to us. Yeah, you're the lowest cost source we've got. So we're going to take your gravy and we're going to let you subsidize it. And then we'll go through, and as we build our capacity in our locality to produce the food, that we can subsidize for ourselves rather than being dependent on some other government agency to do that subsidy. That's how we take ownership over the complete system. Does that make sense at all? Yeah, it's okay. So after we've done all that, getting the jobs, we figured out where those gaps are in that chart that I just showed you before. That's going to open up an opportunity to get into, okay, here are the things we need to do. And we're going to, this afternoon, we're going to go through this better means. It's just one kind of platform that you can use to be able to organize your work and get it public. Everybody, I'm really a firm believer in open enterprise. Get it out there. There's no secrets here. We're talking about food and water and housing and so there's nothing proprietary about this. This is what a community needs, and everyone in the community needs to know what's the work of the community. Not jobs, work. If we wait on jobs, that's a construct that was part of the industrial era. It's gone. There are no jobs going to come back. This is what we learned out of our grant. Sitting there and having to do 28,000 jobs, it sounds great, but it's not happening. And when we said in our grant, if we put this ag bioscience industry cluster in place, we're going to create all these jobs. They aren't there, folks. We gave it our best go for 3 years. It's not there. There's lots of work, and there are lots of people who are doing lots of work, but it's not tied up in that job structure. So being able to describe the work in a way that people in the community can grab hold of it and participate and have their basic needs met, that's the challenge as we're moving forward. Which gets us into what's the one thing we are all left with. I go down there to the unemployment line, I see all those people that don't have work, don't have jobs, I should say. They all have time. So the question is, how do we create a match between here's the work to be done and here's the people with the time to spend? And that time that they're spending is an investment that they then get a return, and that return is that their basic needs are met. Time Banks USA, how many of you have heard of it? There are 3 time banks in this area: Madeira, Mariposa, Fresno. You need one here. Time Banks USA, started by Edgar Kahn. It is a system around which you can use time as a medium of exchange, and you have accounts that are either by individual or by organization. It is particularly good in a fluid situation with non-profits because a nonprofit can be a member of the time bank in the community, and it's through those nonprofits that basic needs get met. So now you have the perfect connection. People in the community that have needs and have time, and they can put the time into the work that's described by the nonprofits, which cuts down on their overhead and administrative expenses, and then they go around, because that does not count as income from an IRS perspective. They are then still able to be eligible for the benefits that come from the nonprofit. Time Banks USA. And then you watch your investment grow, because now you've got projects, infrastructure projects, and you've got businesses. They're loaded into this portfolio. So it's ideas that come in, and it's commercialized outputs that are delivered into the local ones. So here's some statistics for Youngstown. This is a very real project that we just got kicked off last month. We took this to it's an annual event where we get a bunch of people together across Ohio called the Steiner Summit, named for an individual who was very active in the agroecosystems management program area in Ohio. Tragically killed in an automobile accident in 2004, so they established a foundation in his name, and every year they have an event that is encouraging entrepreneurs in agriculture to come forward with some kind of a project that would then get the attention of the funding from that foundation for that year to be able to carry it into play. So we were taking a look at what's going on in Youngstown as a area of need with regard to food insecurity for young people ages 18 and under. 33% of the young people in Youngstown go to bed at night hungry. And poverty rate in Ohio at 16.4%. Youngstown is the first in Ohio as far as cities that are in poverty and food insecurity. Here's a study. I don't know if you're familiar with the Brookings Institute. You need to get their report. It just came out last month based on the 2010 census. It looks at poverty, and it takes 100 metropolitan areas and it ranks them. If you look at the poverty for Youngstown, notice what that percentage is.
Steve, it's hard to read.
Yeah, over on the right-hand side, city, 49.7%. That's half of the population of Youngstown, Ohio, is in poverty. So then I kind of asked the question, well, what about Merced? Because in that same chart I just showed you before, it was really funny. I just, well, not really funny, you know. I just sort of like went down, a couple of them, and gee, there's Fresno right underneath Youngstown. And then I look over here, well, California is not that far off from Ohio. I mean, my goodness, it's still in the top 10. Now I look at Fresno, and it's at 32.2%, according to the Brookings Institute study. So that seems to indicate that there's a lot of opportunity, if you will, to be able to go in and take a collective responsibility in these communities to address this issue and use it as an opportunity, as an engine for social entrepreneurship. So our project, then, we go in and say, well, the idea here is we want to consume these ready-to-eat meals. We want ready-to-eat meals for young people. We don't want them to have to worry about where they're going to get food. This is the food, this is the meal, and here's how you get it. And if you don't know you're going to need it until that day, here's who you call. We've got an organization out of France, Nutriset. Have you heard of Nutriset? They have a product called Plumpy Nut. You ever heard of Plumpy Nut? You use it over in developing countries that are having some kind of crisis, either due to famine or war or natural catastrophe of some kind, and they can get this product into the hands of young people who are on the edge of starvation and have a 95% recovery rate. So when I turn around and I think Youngstown's sitting there, half of the population is in poverty, 1/3 of the kids are going to bed hungry every night, and I say, what the heck is going on here? We've got a company over there that's making this product that can go in and fix it. Then I find out there's another nonprofit organization that's funded by, or the ideas coming from Cargill and General Mills, that has a product that is a meal of 600 calories based on rice as a staple, so that it's has the least or greatest amount of tolerance for reaction, allergy, that sort of thing. So it's 24 cents a meal. 24 cents a meal. Does it go in the United States? No. It goes everywhere else. So every community, my idea, every community, we're done. We got a hexa yurt that we can sleep in, and we can go out here and get this recipe from Cargill and General Mills and be able to put our own locally sourced staples into it for 24 cents a meal. We're done with hunger and we're done with homelessness. Right? So I'm saying, why not? That was the pitch. And so, okay, we'll let you play with it. So this is the package, the way we put it together, where we get young people not only involved in eating it, but then we bring them into the system so they're part of that whole process and understand how it works and how they can participate in it. Again, we want 100% participation, right? We want everybody involved. So we just one month into it, been able to transition it from the people who were at the summit into the actual project on the ground in Youngstown with a combination and partnership with nonprofits and for-profits. We're using the Better Means platform to be able to organize the tasks in part, and then we also have another presence on localfoodsystems.org. So there's two places where you can be looking over our shoulders and seeing what we're doing. We welcome also any input that you have about how you would suggest that we do this, and you can take anything we have and be able to put it into play.